All right, Hawks, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about some features on this drawing called the latch plate. The example you'll see will look a lot like this. I have a couple extra lines that I drew in here in um, anticipation of showing you some of the techniques to create this drawing. Okay, so I'm going to move back to model space here and show you kind of what I have set up here. This is the original drawing, okay, minus these white construction lines, right? So you're using dimensions to get a rectangle of a particular size. Okay, we got an overall length. We've got a height or a distance between the two centers here, and we have a radius for this circle, which means you should be able to figure out what the overall width is, or height of the object between here and here. Okay, so it's a math. So two radiuses, one radius here, one radius here. Add those two together, add it to this dimension, that'll get you the overall width. Have the overall length. You'll then see that I offset, or I took a construction line. Again, that's our XLine or XL as a keyboard command. And just to show you, to verify that the center for this radius and the center for this radius, okay, two radii here, are at the same vertical alignment, okay? And you'll see here we have a dimension, so how far over those centers are, and we also have to assume something, and let me draw this in because I don't have it shown. Here's the midpoint of this side. If I draw this straight through, you'll see that there's 1.2, and the 1.6 is equal distance or equidistance from this center line, right? So that once you know the overall height of the object, you'll have a midpoint over here. You can project a line, and you'll take that 1.2 and you'll divide it in half. You'll offset this line up to get this, offset this line down to get this. Same thing here. Offset this and take that 1.6, divide it in half, offset this line up, and so we'll have to work on some geometric construction. Okay, so if I slide over to this side, you'll see I've got kind of, it's in progress. I've got some items shown. I've got kind of, again, the left and the right sides, the tops and the bottoms. I've got the centers of those four circles located. And then I've got all these construction lines to try and show us how I've created that, okay? So this top half, and I believe in a previous video I talked about using the mirror command, okay? So you can either draw half of the object, which I currently have done here, okay, the top half I've drawn. I'm going to show you how I did that down on the bottom half, okay? But before I do that, let me show you how this would work out, okay? So I see this is a construction line here. There's a construction line here. This line and this line are these two angles, okay? You'll have to come in here and trim them. So that line will go away, and that line will go away. Okay, we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of this, those two vertical lines there, and I would need to trim that line. Got two lines there. I have two lines there, and that line. Okay, and that's how I'm going to get that shape up in here. And then you'll see this small circle and a large circle. Well, again, we have a small circle and a large circle. So once I have created these two geometric circles, that portion of the circle is going to go away. I have to double check here. And that portion of the circle is going to go away. And it looks like this large circle goes down to this line, this bottom line. So I should be stopping the circle there. And then that line coming through stops there. Okay, so if we kind of, again, go through this geometric, one more trim, that right there, and I would then be able to get rid of many of those geometric lines. Okay, so there you can see kind of how I got to those 2 points. Now I want to show you how I got those two lines at the, well, at the top, but we'll do them at the bottom, and those two arcs. Okay, so bear with me here. There's construction lines. There is a little bit of work on your end you'll see kind of how we got there. So let's start with the lines, okay? The two lines to create that corner, all right? So if we take a look here in the example, we have a 3.3 inch dimension. So what I did is I took this right side line, you'll see the dimension up here, I took that line and I offset it 3.3 inches to the left, and that gave me this vertical red line. So that red line, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused here. Let me re-highlight this. Let's step back. This is showing the centers of these two circles, and you'll see here that I projected down. We have the distance from this circle center to this circle center, okay, which is this dimension here. You'll see that dimension, that 3.5, is how I get the start of this angled line, okay? So let's go back here, and I'm going to do one of two things. I could take an offset, there's a 3.5, let me double check. I can offset a line here, 3.5 inches over, or again, I'd have to know where this center is. So again, if I took a line, I drew it down here, all right, and then I offset it 3.5 inches, I could take this line and set it over 3.5 inches. You'll have to have done that already to get the center of the circle. So either you have that projected line there already, or if you have the circle centers and you already deleted them, you could put in a construction line. Okay, that's our XL. That's going to give us that big long line that again shows vertical alignment. Or undo there. Or I could just take a line and draw it down from the center until I get an intersection point right here. Okay, let me get rid of that dimension there for clarity. So what I need to find is this intersection point that's occurring right here. Okay, had to do it up top. You have to do it down below. If you know where the centers of these circles are, you'll know where that intersection point is. So if we go back over here, we take a look, we have an angled line. Okay, it's at a 15-degree angle. Remember, horizontal to the right is 0. So 15 degrees up will give me the angle that this is at. And it tells me how far over we get to this line, but this line is drawn at an angle. We'll show you here the difference. Okay, so we come back over here. I'm going to take the offset. Let me double check. So 1.6. So I'm going to offset 1.6. I'm going to take this line here and I'm going to offset it 1.6 inches over. Okay, that's showing me this distance. So this corner, I'm going to have to figure out, okay, for this line. But this line is not 1.6 inches, and I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, so we slide back over here, and we're going to start to draw a line from this intersection point. Okay, I currently have ortho on. If it makes you feel better, we can turn ortho off. Again, that's the F8. Okay, F8's ortho. And if you remember from a previous video, if we want to do direct distance entry, tell this software how long to draw a line and at what angle, not angle, we're going to do Shift 2, so the @ symbol. And in this case, I'm going to put in 1.6. Okay, 1.6, again, is that dimension of the length of the line, except that length is measured horizontally. This line is at an angle. Okay, and that angle, which I'm going to put in next, so Shift, comma. Okay, again, pay attention to see what's up on my command prompt. It's @ symbol, 1.6, open alligator, or Shift, comma. Okay, angle, and now the angle that I need to give the computer. And again, let's go back. This is a 15-degree angle. The computer sees horizontal to the right as 0, so I can actually just type in 15 degrees here. So 1.5, I hit enter. Okay, and then let me escape. And you'll notice that there is a difference in the length of that line because it is on an angle as compared to going straight out. Let me draw a line from here at try on ortho 1.6. Okay, and you'll see here that line is longer. Okay, so the distance of that line is affected on the angle. Okay, common mistake. Just kind of make sure you pay attention to that. All right, so while we're here, I could have done one of two things with this line. Okay, one of them was to draw it much longer than I needed it, and so when it intersected with this line, we would be able to trim it off. However, I didn't do that. Some of you might be thinking, oh, I'll just grab this line and drag it out. You see, when I do that, I can't keep the angle. All right, so that's not a good option. However, new command we haven't talked about before is in the drop down for trim. You see there's another option called extend. Okay, extend. So this allows us to take a line that maybe doesn't meet something and extend it to meet it. So if I select the extend option, and you'll see all I have to do, and this is a new adjustment in AutoCAD, is I need to just highlight the line. You see there, it's giving me in the preview where I want to extend that line to meet that other line. You can see I can do that over here. I can do that here. I can use this extend command in multiple places, but I just want to extend it to meet that line. So I'm going to left click on my mouse and hit enter or escape when I'm done. And now I have created the endpoint of that line, okay, which is right up in here. And now I have to figure out how to draw this line. And this is one, and again, it's going to create a challenge for you. I'm going to show you how to do it down here, but up on the top end, with the one I already did, you're going to have to really pay attention to the fact that to the right, horizontal is 0, and we go counterclockwise. So perfectly vertical is 90, 180 is the opposite direction, so horizontal to the left, 270 straight down or opposite of 90. And if you don't use the mirror command, you'll have to actually do some math to figure out angles, okay? And here's where that math comes in. So we see that there's a 135-degree angle here, but I don't have any reference. So I got a 15-degree angle here, and I don't know what the distance is or the angle is between these two, okay? I could probably figure that out by doing some more math and figuring out, oh, this is 0, this is horizontal, this is 15 here. So if this was 180 over here, what's left from 130? Too much math, at least for my brain right now while I'm recording this. So let's talk about the way I would go about thinking about this. Is this line, this red line, is perfectly vertical. We know that that is 190 degrees. I'm sorry, 90 degrees. It's a 90-degree line, again, the way that the software is looking at least up. Because again, I'm looking like maybe starting down here and going straight up. That would be a 90-degree line. Well, if we go all the way around to horizontal, that's 180. Okay, so 90 subtracted from 135 leaves me with 45 degrees. So I'm going to come on over here, and I'm going to draw a line from that endpoint. I'm going to do the at, and I'm going to just put in a distance here of, let's say, 5 inches. And I'm going to do the shift comma, so an angle. Okay, and now, again, I wanted to go, well, we had a 45-degree angle, and in this case, we're actually going to draw that at 45 degrees. Let's look at that again. 90 degrees is vertical. 180 would be perfectly horizontal. 90 degrees subtracted from 135 tells me the angle of this line. It's a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to draw that line at 45 degrees. Okay, and then I would have to come in and do some trimming. Get rid of that, get rid of this, get rid of that, and I can create that shape down at the bottom. Okay, so there's how we create those angled lines. We use that extend command. That was a new one. Okay, should have had direct distance entry before, and now it's time to talk about the arcs. Okay, so again, these can get a little confusing with the construction lines. So let's go over to the example and take a look. The center of the small circle, the R4 circle, is aligned with where this line is at. Okay, so you can figure that out again. Take this distance, split it in half, offset from the center. The large circle, okay, or large radius, is aligned with the same thing on the opposite corner. Okay, so we actually have concentric circles. They're just one's used right here, and the other one that's concentric here is used on this bottom piece. You can see that those vertical lines are, those centers are vertically aligned. So what we need to do is we're going to come down here. Okay, again, it's this line down at the bottom, okay, which is this far line, okay, or the low line. So what I'm going to do is this intersection point right here is the one I'm concerned with. All right, so I'm going to get a circle, and I'm going to start at center right there. And for this particular circle, the small circle, my radius is 4. So I'm going to come down here and type R, enter, just to make sure it's in a radius, and type in 0.4. Double check that. Yeah, that's a 0.4, okay? And that gave me the small circle, which is going to give me this partial arc, okay? Now the next one, I needed the intersection point up here, which I must have deleted, so I'm just going to get a line, and I'm going to bring it over from that corner so I can get an intersection point up at the top. Okay. Again, I got that red line representing the center. In previous drawings, we may have seen this center as like this type of line, just kind of showing vertical symmetry. We don't really have vertical symmetry here because the left side and the right side are different, but you may have seen a previous drawing that had that in there. So let's go ahead and get another circle. And this time we're going to start the center of a circle here, and we need to go out and take a look, and that radius is 2. Okay, so R2, and we're opposite, so I'm going to type in R and 2, and now I have that geometry for that circle. So again, like the end, I need to go in with the trim command, and it looks like I get rid of that little circle there and there. Okay, get rid of this and this as well while I'm in here. Okay, and the large circle goes away there. And that large circle goes to this 1.5. So that circle stops there. Okay, and then I can come in, I can do some deleting, some selecting, and that would get me my overall shape. All right, Hawks, hope that was helpful. Again, most of the other stuff you should have already seen. We'll catch you on the next video with more important how to do AutoCAD stuff. So this one was mostly extend and using projection geometry.